all due respect to what Dave said of how he would like to walk into the boardroom and behave that way. It's like I get it. I get it as a passionate fan,
Yeah.
but you've got to play all parts of the field, and that includes the corporate game as well.
Dave, back to your comments about Steve. I was just thinking, you were asking about the advocate. If Steve could kind of fill us in a little bit about what his role is and what power he has, or is it just? I mean, is there anything to it? Like, that's another question.
True.
Like, is this just a PR move that it sounds like now they're giving some attention to the adult collectors? Because does he have any leverage with his partners? His Lucasfilm and his Marvel friends.
All right.
Or is it just the Hasbro thing,
So again, just we'll use common sense. So Cox said publicly somewhere in one of his interviews not that long ago that I think he said like 60% of Hasbro's total business was adults. So there's that. They are paying attention in that regard, right? So this change from getting Patrick, who we all hated, off of Star Wars was a great idea. Yeah. Now you move Stevie again, and call him and say that his title has, adult collector in it. It's all good signs. We'll put it that way,
But they have to make the case to Disney and Marvel and Lucasfilm that, because those guys want retail figures in the toy aisle.
Yep.
And Hasbro's saying we need to sell to this other group. It's not at Disney yet. Disney doesn't have a fan collector or adult collector person yet. Nope. So I think we need to temper our expectations and maybe be helpful for Steve to kind of give us, the community, maybe 3 months in, 6 months in. How's it going, Steve, with your new role? Is it making any traction? I'd be interested to hear that.
Indeed.
They have to do something big, though, to energize the Star Wars 6-inch community, I think. There's got to be something new, whether it's, like I was saying, some small play sets or something, or a ship, or
I think a commitment to the figures that we want, just like the TBC crowd is yelling for their figures. If you pick each movie and pick 3 characters from each of the main movies, even the prequels, you're going to get a Revenge of the Sith Anakin, you're going to get a Yoda, you're going to get a Palpatine. If they could commit to these instead of pipelining all the stuff that we don't really want,
I asked this earlier, so I'll ask both of you, and I'll give you both examples for what you collect. So would you pay if Steve came out and said, we're going to make all of the Cantina aliens, they're going to be available only online, you can pre-order them for this period of time, like this month, like this made to order, like they've been doing for some things now. We're going to do that. They're all $35. I guarantee you we make every single one of them. Are you in?
Yes. 35. I heard your question on 35, man. I don't know.
You're going to question
Snaggletooth, and I want the Cantina, but $35.
35, and they're all perfect. They're all.
I wouldn't say that. That would just give Hasbro. They're going to go, yep, $35 now. I don't know, man. I would seriously back off if they hit 35, at least right now. Maybe 10 years
hold on.
from now, 35.
Not that all of the figures are 35. Just this made to order. We're going to make a limited run.
So how many are there? 20 of them?
There's
maybe?
A shitload of them. Yeah, there's a lot.
30. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot. What's that times 35? I mean.
Well, sure, but they make them over a couple of years.
But you're not going to get them
with them. Are they deluxe where I get like extra hands and heads and stuff? I mean, if they threw in an extra head and extra hands like that Yoda and stuff, I'd be there all day.
Fine. For any character that needed. All right, Marvel Collector. How about they do that with the Serpent Society? You in for that?
I'm not that much of a completionist, but I mean, you could get me with a team.
You could get you with a team.
And I do think, like, it goes back to my question for you earlier, is like, if you give me everything and it's perfect, and I'm going to add this just because Chris mentioned it before and you guys have talked about it. I know that I'm not going to have the regret of paying $35 because it's going to be $10 at Target on clearance.
Exactly.
I'm going to sit there and say, yes, this is important to me, and back that. I mean, I'm already doing it with Mythic Legion. 35 for what I really want and I don't have to worry about. Not that bad.
Not that bad. And I mean, there's the added, that's going to be worth far more in the long run.
They meant 25. They meant 25, Steve. He misspoke. He meant 25. And again, I would do 35 if they packed more stuff in. Like I said, I buy premium stuff all the time. I got a ton of Mafex, but they come with 3 heads and 20 hands and wired capes and super articulated and all this extra stuff and like another tray that's full of all kinds of weapons and guns and a giant laser.
They're never going to do. Yeah, they're never going to do that. Like,
right,
so
that's the extreme. But if you're at 35 now, at least throw in an extra head and some hands, and they did it with that Shang-Chi. Remember, Shang-Chi came with like 10 sets of hands.
So beautiful. I love it.
This is Thrace from the Poxus wave of Mythic Legions. Now I understand this isn't licensed, so there's a whole thing that goes along with it, but this is not even everything she comes with. There's an alternate head. She's not wearing her pauldrons. She's got like 8 different looks. You can take off the soft goods. You can leave on the soft goods. You've got magic effects that are not being shown here. And all of that was $37. For anyone who collects, if you're not collecting Legions right now, a $37 figure is like, you sit there and you're like, I don't know what it is, but you get it in hand and you're like, holy crap, I can see and feel the quality on this. And so I get it licensed. And even if, I'll go back to Dave's point, even if that thing of like, if it's not the Serpent Society, but it's, the best X Factor team I'm going to get, I'll pay $45 for it a piece. Like if I have to deal with the license. And I think to Chris's point, if it comes with a bunch of different things, like I think that goes back to my point of I'd be willing to commit to a more premium piece if I know I'm not going to get in the rear end later on.
70s.
Oh, look who just popped into our little chat here. You're still up with us, Steve.
Do you have your pants on, Steve?
Happy birthday. Yesterday was his birthday, right?
Oh, yes. Happy birthday, sir.
Happy birthday, Steve.
He's a good
Thanks
man.
for listening.
He really is. Like, there's no question about it. Steve is a good dude. Like, you can't say anything bad about him. You just can't. Like, who else at Hasbro was going to even offer what he offered? Like, give me feedback. Who else does that?
Not to pump Steve's tires here, because I think we really genuinely all agree. If you've met Steve or had any conversations with him, he is a genuinely good person, and he is a fan. So, I know, Dave, you brought up the comment earlier about the new management that was brought in from a tier of retail that doesn't match toys, and they're unlikely to share the passion that someone like Steve does. Like it's good to have someone in Steve's role that has that passion. But he's also, and I understand too, he's got to balance the business with the passion.
That's the thing though. I think balancing, I think if you go more towards the passion, you up the business at this point. I really do. It's the soulless crap that comes out that really nobody wants. That's the problem. You can't push product anymore. They're not pushing stuff on us. It's not working.
They can push product on certain people, but the fan collector community, you can't push it on this community anymore. That's the thing. It's
who else is there? Who else is actually
they
buying?
They can push product on Walmart or Target, or other exclusive, their retailer partners, right?
Right, but again, how is that going to up the business?
Yeah,
you have to assume some of it's a gamble, though. Like that Agatha Harkness figure, right? Like they don't know what the character is going to be. They don't know what the show's going to be. And after The Mandalorian, who knows? If that show came out and like Agatha Harkness was this runaway hit, funny, hilarious character, and everyone's doing memes of her and talking about it, and then they don't have any on the shelf. But then it could go the opposite way where she's kind of, she's there, but there's nothing super exciting about her. I think The Mandalorian is like a perfect example. Like it did really well, but it did amazingly well. I don't think everybody realized how well it was going to do.
One reason that The Mandalorian did as well as it did was a small anthropomorphic creature that could be sold to all ages. That is, I love The Mandalorian, but it's like, and as a non-Star Wars fan, I think it would still have been a hit, but not nearly to the degree that it was.
Does it sell figures? The answer is somewhere in the middle, like yes and no. It doesn't sell just because it's on TV, which I think is what Disney thinks. I think they think, oh, the client is great, let's make a figure of it, when really the client is an old man.
Let's just revisit Steve's good night message here real quick. got a long road ahead of me. I know where I want to take us, and I'm going to ride it. That's a promise. He's probably in real tough circumstance, right? He's got a new role, and he's got a big upward hill to fight, I think. And
all due respect to what Dave said of how he would like to walk into the boardroom and behave that way. It's like, I get it. I get it as a passionate fan, but you've got to play all parts of the field, and that includes the corporate game as well. And the Mouse is still a bigger company than Hasbro. He's between a rock and a hard place with all the things that we've talked about.
I was thinking that, Steve, some information that would be great for you to share is just to share with us how limited your role is, so we don't over-expect from you. Because we're just going to go crazy thinking that you're going to be our Superman and save everybody. So when you make comments back to the community, just kind of help temper our expectations of what your abilities are. I think that'd be helpful too.
Before you guys dig in much deeper, I have to split. So thank you so much for letting me join in, but I've got to go.
Thanks for coming, sir.
All right, Jeremy. It was great. Thanks.
Take care, guys.
And they don't make nearly as many new parts. Like if you told them make an E-Font Man now, they'd be like, well, that'll run you like $70 or $80. That's a lot of plastic and the tooling and the deco and the paint. Get out of here, man. Like, come on.
On that point, that's the only reason we got Hammerhead, right? Because Disney had Disney parks and they could put tooling into a budget for Galaxy's Edge because it was a Galaxy's Edge item.
Yep.
That's the only reason Hammerhead. It's sad that way.
And I'll shit in my hat and eat it if we don't get the mayor from Boba Fett now too. Just because he's already made,
Yeah.
Of all the movies, Empire has been covered the most. Like we even had it's basically down to Lobot.
Except for some of those Bespin figures.
Yeah, I don't.
Bespin guard,
I don't know if those Bespin guards would be a seller. That is a tough. Even if you you put two heads with it, one black guy, one white guy, like it.
The guy with the ice cream maker. We have the ice cream maker. We don't have the guy running with it.
Yeah, you're right.
Right?
The ice cream maker guy. And they could take the ice cream guy in his jumpsuit and repaint him for Andor, for the prisoners in Andor.
Oh my God.
As a plumber.
Oh my God.
Put Andor plumbing supply on his jumpsuit.
You know what sucks too? I think nowadays, whenever this is part of the whole hobby that really blows. Right now, when we are thinking, what should they make or what could they make? We also have to think, well, they could repaint it like this as well. And that's really unfortunate,
We're trying,
that's a real shitty part of the hobby where I know I'm not going to get something I want because of the current state of reuse and repaint and everything. You can't release it again because you'd be lucky to sell it enough the first time. So it sucks. It's just something that really sucks.
So with Mythic Legions, everybody does the pop and swaps, right? The big thing with Mythic Legions, you could take them all apart. What if Hasbro switched to that concept and made Marvel Legends, Star Wars, and G.I. Joe so that you could pop and swap and take a G.I. Joe character's legs with a Star Wars character's torso and a Marvel Legends arms and head and mix them up and make your own characters like that across the brands?
That would be.
I did that for preschoolers.
That would be cool, though. No, but for our scale, though, say, hey, going forward, all of our figures are going to be pop and swappable, and you could take a Marvel Legends and mix it with 3 other Marvel Legends, or you can mix it with a G.I. Joe figure and take the hands and arms from Duke and put them on with the legs from Silver Surfer and come up with your own creative characters. That's not $1 million idea. That's $1 billion idea. But with Mythic Legions, that's the draw for me. And now with Cosmic and Mythic, you see what they're doing. People are taking Cosmic stuff and mixing it with Mythic, right? And making really cool characters,
a skeleton spaceman. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I mean, it would really open up the hobby to, okay, now I need that character, not because I know who it is, but I love the torso and the legs, and I'm going to put that with Cyclops' head. And, it just would add a whole creativity piece to it and just open up a whole new world to people.
It would. I think they could do it within lines. I don't think they could cross all 3. I don't think they would be legally allowed, but they could do it within the lines. And that would be cool. That'd be especially cool for Joes. Like you could, like you could do, like you could create your own army builder Joe that way. Like that would be cool.
Yeah, your own soldiers.
Yeah, he's right. We're fucked.
Oh, what? Too much of a choking hazard.
He's right though. Too much of a choking hazard. He's right.
Oh my god!
I don't.
An adult collector line, it would make sense.
Yeah, but
and just an adult line like that, and you start redoing the figures. I don't know. I think it would be cool, even for Marvel Legends. You do it on Pulse, then you say these are adult 15 and over, and you start redoing it. You have Captain America and Iron Man. You could re-release them all.
I'm cool,
but under new tooling, where all the parts pop off, and I can use. I don't know.
We just said we weren't going to start over our collections if they change something.
One more thing.
Ahead, Dave,
one more thing. So I asked Jim from the Four Horsemen. I said, why can't you guys make the DC line? Like McFarlane's doing a terrible job. You guys should be in charge of it again. He said, we are never doing licensed stuff again. There's a 0% chance. Like, you think we're dealing with that headache again right now? We're doing whatever we want. We're making our great stuff, doing our own thing. No one's telling us what to do. So that goes a long way in showing you like how bad a license agreement is and how controlling it is and just how shitty it is.
Good point.
Good talking to you guys, though. You guys are great.
Yeah, you too, man.
This was a lot of fun. All right, well, let's wrap it up there.
And you said we should script it. Like we need a script.
I never said scripted. I said we should talk to each other so we're not complete strangers before we start. But
I've been reading from a script the entire time. Hold on, it says here, thank you, Dave and Dave.
Yeah, well, we'll wrap this up. Thank you, Dave, Chris,
hold on,
Jeremy, everybody else.
Okay, hold on. One more thing.
Hold on, what? One more thing.
There we go.
Gotta do your vaping, yeah.
A little more steam.
All right.
All right, guys.
We'll see you guys online. Good night, everybody.
All right, bye. See you.
Good night.
Bye.